Hello, it's Johnny Minecraft. I'm coming to you from Chicago. As usual, I've got a whole mess of clips. I I slapped together a thumbnail and title. I used AI for the thumbnail. It sucks. Don't get me wrong, but it took 5 seconds. It's just provisional. It's provisional. We're going to name as we go here. I'm taking suggestions for the thumbnail and the title. As usual, let's do this thing, shall we?
Everybody else, I'm still waiting on the CAA forms to come back, I think.
She sent
Have you sent them?
Yeah, she.
Oh, I see them. I got them. I'm sorry. Let me print those out, and I'll be ready in just a second here.
Right there.
Hello.
Have a seat right there.
Who are you talking to? And this court is not legit. Y'all shutting this shit down on board. That's what you're gonna do, bitch. On board. On board.
All right. Deputies, can you tell me which defendant this is?
Board.
You can go back.
On board.
Deputies, if you guys could tell me who this is, I could. Okay, you can take her. All right, and good morning, ma'am.
Chào em.
And I'm sorry, deputies, do we just have one Vietnamese speaker today?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, ma'am, I'm going to go through the information with you that I explained to everyone earlier.
Hôm nay á, là tôi sẽ giải cho em biết là cái việc gì cho ngày hôm nay nhé.
My name is Judge John Parker.
Tên của ông chết cho em nói gì?
Tên em Bùi Anh.
Oh, my name is Bùi Anh.
Vâng.
Okay, thank you. And I'm with the.
This one's kind of cute. I actually think I can fix her. I've got a plan. I'll tell you at the end.
Clayton County Magistrate Court.
Tôi là tòa của cái quận Clayton này nhé.
So the first thing I want to do is read you your rights.
Đầu tiên á, là tôi sẽ cho em biết là cái quyền lợi của em.
You have the right to remain silent and say nothing.
Em có quyền là không nói gì hết. Im lặng.
This is a public hearing that is streamed live to YouTube and recorded.
Còn cái này, cái bữa tòa này đó là đã có stream và sẽ là thu hình ở trong YouTube.
So anything that you say.
All right. How do you say you're on Law Talk with Mike in Vietnamese? Tell me in the chat.
During this proceeding can be used against you at later proceedings.
Thành thử là những cái lời khai của em trước tòa đó là sẽ có thể là ghi nhận lại và có thể dùng cái đó để công tố em sau này đó.
You are presumed to be innocent of your charges until the state of Georgia proves your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Người ta công tố em, nhưng mà hiện tại bây giờ là em là vô tội cho tới khi nào mà công tố chứng minh 100% em có tội thì lúc đó em mới bị buộc tội.
You have the right to an accusation. I'm sorry, you have the right to indictment by a grand jury for felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors.
Em có thể là bị công tố bởi grand jury nếu mà cái tội của em là đại hình, và nếu là tiểu hình thì là làm khác.
You have the right to a speedy and a public trial by a jury.
Và em sẽ được quyền là đi ra tòa nhanh chóng.
You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf.
Khi mà lúc ra tòa là em có được quyền yêu cầu những cái nhân chứng ra để mà bào chữa cho em.
And you have the right to see, hear, and question the witnesses called to testify against you.
Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse. We need we need to have her have an opportunity to speak. It's everything you think it's going to be, and beautiful.
Rồi em có thể là em có quyền yêu cầu những cái nhân chứng mà công tố em ra tòa để mà em hạch hỏi họ.
And you have the right to testify yourself if you choose to do so.
Rồi
All right. That's probably correct. That's probably proper Vietnamese. But since it's coming from Mike Patterson, I'm guessing Google Translate was involved.
em sẽ có quyền là đi ra để mà bào chữa cho chính em nếu em muốn.
You have the right to have an attorney represent you.
Em có quyền để mà sẽ có một luật sư để mà giúp em ở trong lúc mà phân xử.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify.
Nếu em không có đủ khả năng để mướn luật sư tư thì là để xem coi là sẽ được cái luật sư công để giúp em.
If you are not a United States citizen, some charges may adversely affect your immigration status.
Nếu em không có em chưa có quốc tịch thì những cái công tố này, những cái tội này là có thể ảnh hưởng tới cái tình trạng di trú của em trong tương lai.
And if you have any questions regarding immigration, you would need to consult with an attorney.
Tuy nhiên nếu mà em có những cái thắc mắc về vấn đề tình trạng di trú của em có thể đi kiếm luật sư di trú để mà tư vấn.
Okay, you have one charge.
Em bị công tố một tội.
That is called criminal trespass family violence.
Nghĩa là em đã đi làm xâm chiếm cư gia bất hợp pháp.
The bond amount on that charge is going to be $1,500.
Thì cái tiền mà tại ngoại hầu tra để mà em ra ngoài để mà em chờ đi hầu tòa đó là $1,500.
Posting the bond will allow your release from jail while you are waiting on the trial in your case.
Khi em đóng $1,500 xong á, là em được đi ra ngoài chờ để mà đi ra tòa phân xử.
There's three ways of posting a bond.
Mà em có 3 cách để mà em đóng cái tiền bond đó.
If you have the full amount of the bond in cash, then someone can post that cash bond with the sheriff's department.
Em có thể đóng $1,500 tiền mặt vô trong sở cảnh sát, thì cảnh sát sẽ cho về.
And that cash bond would then be returned to you at the end of your case.
Rồi cái tiền đó, cái tiền bond nó sẽ trả lại cho em sau khi mà cái kết thúc cái cuộc án của em.
If you do not have the full amount of the bond in cash, you may be able to use a commercial bonding company.
Nếu em không có đủ tiền mặt thì em có thể sử dụng công ty bonding.
And those companies typically charge 10 to 15% of the bond as their fee.
Tuy nhiên mà em dùng những cái công ty đó, người ta sẽ charge em 10 tới 10.
You don't even need to understand Vietnamese to see the attitude on her, which is why I'm enjoying it so much.
5% tiền fee.
Okay, and then the third way of posting a bond is using property.
Cách thứ ba là có thể dùng cái tài sản của em.
And if someone has a net equity in their property of at least 3 times the amount of the bond, they can post that as a property bond.
Oh, fantastic! She can just use her property in the Hamptons.
Nếu mà em có tài sản mà cái trị giá cái tài sản của em là 3 lần cái số tiền bond thì em có thể sử dụng cái tài sản đó.
Okay, and deputies, if you can unmute the microphone, I believe she had a question she was trying to ask. Okay, ma'am, did you have a question for me?
Đó, em có còn câu hỏi gì nữa không?
Chừng nào tôi mới được giải được các mắt là vì sao mọi người không hỏi tôi là vì sao tôi lại hai cái bức tượng đó và chính cái ngôi nhà đó tôi ở là tôi và người đó là vợ chồng hợp pháp thì làm sao mà tôi xâm cư bất hợp pháp? Thứ nhất, thứ hai nữa là họ đang làm với tôi như thế nào để tôi bức xúc và tôi mới đặt hai cái bức tượng. Tôi chỉ có đặt hai bức tượng đó thôi chứ tôi chưa hành hung ai hết và tôi còn rất nhiều điều muốn nói với bạn.
So, she doesn't have the question. She would just tell. She's making a statement, and her statement is, "I am the wife."
Of course she is. There's nothing I can say. I have lots of things to say, but none of them won't get me in trouble. So I'm just gonna let this play.
Of the man in that's how, and nobody asked me a question because I live there. How can they charge me criminal trespassing?
việc tôi bị phạm tội, tôi ok, tôi chấp nhận là tôi đã có phá hoại tài sản là hai cái bức tượng, còn nghe cho tôi gọi là hai cái bức tượng cho mình trước cổng nhà, và cái đó.
So there was no question. There is no question whatsoever. Just like every other American, she decided she's going to give the judge a talking to. Just in her case, she's doing it in Vietnamese. That's all.
Nhà đó chính là nhà của tôi và chồng tôi sinh sống. Tôi và ông đang còn là
Okay,
vợ
let
pháp.
hold on. Let the translator work.
Khoan,
Tell me.
em nói như vậy được rồi, nhưng mà em phải ngưng lại để cho anh có thể thông dịch cho tòa. Now, sir, I admit that, you know, I live in that house. I'm the wife of the man who live in that house, and I would just accept the guilty because I broke their two starters right in front of my house, and that's the door.
Okay, I'm going to.
You can tell the translator's like, Judge, you have no idea what you're getting into. You don't want to do this, but I understand it's my role. I will translate this for you, but this is not where you want to go.
Answer your question.
Khoan. Bây giờ là tòa sẽ trả lời cho em nghe nha.
I just asked that you let me finish the answer before you ask another question, okay?
Tự là để tôi nói xong rồi cô hẳn hỏi nha.
You're charged with criminal trespass because you are alleged to have destroyed some property belonging to your husband.
Đó, vì phạt cái tội đó là vì lý do là em ở trong
I find that incredibly easy to believe. I just do.
cái em ở trong nhà đó và em đập bể hai cái bức tượng đó, vì lý do đó em mới bị phạt vì cái tội xâm nhập gia cư bất hợp pháp và phá hoại tài sản.
We are not going to be going into the details of what happened today because that is not what this hearing is about.
Hôm nay á, mình không có phân xử, không có đi vô cái chi tiết của cái việc của em làm. Tại vì hôm nay á, chị là báo cho em cái mục đích của cái tòa hôm nay đó là để chị báo cho em biết là em có cái tội đó thôi. Chúng tôi công tố em vì cái tội đó thôi.
You would need to speak with your attorney about the details of your case.
Rồi, nói chuyện với là luật sư nha, tư vấn với luật sư về cái kê của em, rồi để đó là để em đi ra tòa mà chống án.
For the time being, you are to stay away from and have no contact with Tommy Quach.
Trong cái thời gian này đó là em không có được liên hệ với lại cái ông Tommy Quach.
I am aware that you and Tommy Quach both live together at 204 Valley Hill Road. Is that correct?
Tôi biết là em với là ông Tommy Quach là ở trong cái căn nhà 2404 Valley Hill, đúng không?
Okay, deputies, can we unmute the microphone for a moment?
Bức xúc để tôi ra ngoài nên tôi mới phá hoại hai cái bức tượng đó. Họ đặt điện thoại tôi và cái số tiền tôi đi làm tôi gửi họ, lúc đó tôi kêu họ đưa cho tôi đi đặng, hiện trong cuộc cãi vã tôi kêu họ đưa cho tôi đặng tôi đi nơi khác, tôi không muốn ngồi ở đó cãi vã nữa, nhưng họ đó họ.
Ma'am, stop. The translator needs to explain to me what you're saying.
Em tòa nói là em nói ngắn gọn để cho tôi có thể thông dịch cho tòa biết. Okay. He was saying, I'm just mad. I'm outraged because he kept my money and he break up my cell phone. So that's why, you know, I did what I did. I'm so mad.
Okay, that is something you need.
She is seriously saying to a judge, I had a right to break all of his, to do whatever I did because he cut off my cell phone. There's no remorse. There's no, she thinks that's a perfectly good legal defense. She never stopped talking, even when the translator was talking to her. All right, let's see how this riveting thing concludes.
Need to speak to your attorney about. We are not going to be dealing with that this morning. What I'm asking you to do is just answer my questions.
Sáng hôm nay đó là không có bàn những cái chi tiết của cái kê của em. Em nói chuyện với luật sư sau này sẽ đi ra tòa là xử sau, nghe không? Bây giờ là trả lời những câu hỏi xong rồi, để chờ luật sư lại sẽ liên hệ với em.
You and Mr. Quach both live at 204 Valley Hill Road, correct?
Em với cái ông Tommy Quach là ở cái nhà ở Valley Hill phải không, số 204? Yes sir.
Okay. Do you plan on staying at that address once you are released from jail?
Cái khi mà em đi ra khỏi tù á, là em có ý định là em trở lại cái căn nhà đó để em ở không?
Có 2 ngày nữa, nếu có tôi được cái quyền đi ra ngoài xe phòng để ở, tôi sẽ đi ra ngoài xe phòng để ở, tôi không ở trong căn nhà đó nữa. Vì tôi biết ở căn nhà đó tôi với cái người đó sẽ có thể có cơ hội xung đột nữa.
Rồi xong khoan. Yes, I will share the room with somebody else because I know if I stay there, we're gonna fight again.
Well, Mr. Quach is also here and I will be seeing him shortly.
Cái chồng ông Quát á, ổng cũng ở trong tù, chút xíu nữa tôi sẽ nói chuyện với ông ta.
I am going to order him to also stay away from you and have no contact with you.
Rồi tôi cũng sẽ là order ổng, tôi sẽ là ra lệnh là ông Quát á, ổng sẽ không có ở gần em để mà quấy rối em.
I am also going to order him to stay away from the home so that you are able to return to the residence.
Xong tôi sẽ yêu cầu ông ta đi ra khỏi cái căn nhà đó để cho em về em ở lại cái căn nhà đó. Ông ta sẽ không được quyền về cái căn nhà đó.
I am going to schedule a preliminary hearing to be held on July the 2nd.
Love, exciting and new.
Là vào ngày 20 tháng 7, 8 giờ 30 sáng. Yes, sir.
And I'm sorry, hang on just one minute. Also, would you like to be represented by a public defender attorney at no cost?
Em có muốn tôi cho cung cấp em một luật sư công để giúp em mà không tốn tiền không?
Tôi rất muốn vì
Yes.
tôi
Yes,
mới,
sir.
tôi chưa có cái kinh tế gọi là đầy đủ để mướn.
Được rồi. Em chỉ trả là muốn là mình sẽ nói yes thôi nhá. Em không cần phải nói dài dòng. Yes sir.
Yes sir.
Do you currently work or have any sort of income?
Bây giờ em có đi làm không, và tiền của em làm cái income của em là bao nhiêu?
3.000 mấy?
About
4.000.
about 3,000 a month.
Do you have any children?
Em có con không?
Có 3 tuổi.
Yeah. 3
Thôi
years
3
old.
tuổi.
2 children?
No,
3 tuổi.
one.
How does she make the 3,000? I didn't catch that. She's selling burritos?
3 years old.
3-year-old? Okay, I'm going to find that you do qualify for a public defender attorney at no cost.
Rồi, tôi sẽ cho em một cái luật sư công để mà giúp đỡ em nhé.
And I will have someone appointed to represent you.
Rồi, cái người luật sư đó họ sẽ tới nói chuyện với em.
Do you have any questions, ma'am?
Rồi, em còn câu hỏi gì nữa không?
Vậy là hiện bây giờ là tôi về nhà tôi vẫn được ở ngôi nhà đó.
So when I leave a jail, I can go back to that house, right, Your Honor?
That is correct.
Đúng
You
rồi.
just cannot be around Tommy Quach.
Em được về. Chờ nghe. Em nghe. Nếu mà em nói đó là em không muốn nghe chết nói, im, khoan, nghe nè. Câu hỏi của em là khi ra khỏi tù em có thể về căn nhà đó không? Thì tòa nói được, yes, ok, và không có được bén mảng tới cái ông Tommy Quat, ok. Yes sir.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Rồi xong rồi em đi vô đi.
Hold on. Sorry.
Okay. I will reveal my fix. I never claim I can fix them. I always tell you I can only make them worse. That's actually true here, but here's the fix that would work for me. Everything was fine. She's a lovely woman. I don't mind the squawking since I don't understand one bit of it. All you have to do is take the translator away from her and we're fine. I don't care what she's yammering about. It's fine. It's fine, and it's in a language I don't understand. And that's where all the problems. It puts me in mind of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when the Babel fish destroyed society by translating everything. It's basically a variation of that.
Your Honor.
This received international attention.
International attention.
Good morning. Are y'all prepared to proceed on the motion to revoke?
Yeah.
All right. Court is calling 2022 CR 5498W, State of Texas versus Josue Carvajal. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense?
Efrain Torres Jr. for Mr. Carvajal.
And are you Mr. Carvajal?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the document entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision and state's motion to supplement pending motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke probation with your attorney, and did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Are you the same Josue Carvajal who's placed on deferred adjudication in 2022 CR 5498W for the offense of unauthorized use of a vehicle on June 7, 2022 for a period of 2 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
State?
Yes, Your Honor. On the supplemental motion, Your Honor, violated conviction number 4 in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant, Jose Carvajal, did that in there, failed to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of March 2024 in violation of condition number 4.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True, Your Honor.
Your Honor, will waive the violated condition.
Any objections to the state's waivers?
No, Your Honor.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 4, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, sentence you up to 2 years in the state jail facility, and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 4?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find violation of condition number 4 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
There is, Your Honor. That is to grant the motion and revoke the individual from his probation to sentence him to 180 days in the Bexar County, in the state jail facility.
All right. Counsel, are you asking the court to follow that agreement?
Please.
So what has he done on probation?
Judge, I believe he's completed IOP. I also believe he's paid about $1,000 towards his fees, Judge. The rest of it was not able to be complete, Judge. I believe Mr. Carvajal can explain it to you if you wish.
All right. Do you want to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Josue Carvajal Isaiah.
Why didn't you report in March?
I did not report in March because I was having, honesty. There's family, basically my grandfather was dying. He was going to be no longer here, and I wasn't there with my parents, with my father, and it was just too much for me. I couldn't come in.
Oh, did you pick up the phone and call probation and said, my grandfather is dying, I can't come in?
Yes, ma'am, I did. And
Wait a minute. Do we have
them
proof of this? Ms. Abrams, he said he called probation and said he can't come in. His grandfather is dying.
Judge, I'd have to take a moment to review all of the photos.
All right. So you're saying you called them?
Did you call him or you left a voicemail?
I left the voicemail.
Oh, okay. So they should have a voicemail if you left it. And is there anything else you wish to say?
And as well, I became a father at a very young age, ma'am. I just wanted to get this out of there. I became a father at a very young age. I have children of 1, 2, and 3-year-olds. And they have been, basically they've been my main priority, and I know it as well. Probation had to be one of my main priorities, but I couldn't balance both out. So I felt deep.
Judge. Judge, my newborn has become one of my main priorities. Oh, she absolutely loves this, as you'll see.
At completing my probation.
Okay, so you have a 1, 2, and 3-year-old. That's what you're telling me.
Yes,
And how old are you?
20, ma'am.
All right, so why would you're 20 years old, you have a criminal case for unauthorized use of a vehicle. At some point in time, you continue to have children, even though you were on probation. Why are you doing this to your children?
Well, I have taken them onto my wing, and one of them is mine.
So there's a mother out there who wants you to take her 2 children under your wing, knowing that you have criminal history.
Yes, ma'am.
And then she has a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. Are the 2-year-old and 3-year-old your biological children?
No, ma'am.
All right. So she has a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, and then she decides to choose you to have another child. So now you all have a 1, 2, and 3-year-old in the house. I don't understand why people are making these, what appears to be horrendous decisions. Children are a blessing, but children are expensive.
Yes.
And probation is looking to see if you actually called.
Tequila.
Because this is not your first time before the court on a motion to revoke.
Correct.
And so I'm just trying to figure out whether or not I'm going to give you what you're asking for or going to give you something more.
There was telephone call stated that he had COVID and he wanted to schedule. That was on March 18th.
I believe that was a mixture of both. I think his grandfather was already ill and passing away, and he was also ill himself.
Yeah, he didn't say that. When I questioned him, he didn't tell me that. If I'm wrong, let me know. But when I asked him what the issue was, he said his grandfather was passing.
Yes.
And he said he left a telephone message with probation saying that his grandfather was passing. That was what he told me what was going on in his life. Is there something that I did not hear?
No, I'm sorry. You're correct. It's just that when we were having our conversations there, we did go over that, Judge, and he did mention that, Judge. And I'm sure Josue is nervous, Judge. He understands the punishment that you can potentially give him. He's never been to the state jail facility. He's never even been to a prison. He's 20. I'm sure he's nervous, Judge. But nevertheless, he did tell you he did call. He was on the record, Judge, and that is accurate.
All right. So his previous criminal history?
Yes, Judge.
It's always dismissed, defendant convicted of other. Dismissed, defendant convicted of other. And that's the harboring a runaway.
Correct.
From County Court 8, dismissed, defendant convicted of other. Theft of a firearm, dismissed, defendant convicted of other. Another theft of a firearm, which I'm assuming occurred at the same time based upon the cause number, dismissed, defendant convicted of another. County Court 8, unlawfully carrying a weapon, defendant dismissed, defendant convicted of other.
Correct, Judge.
Possession case, dismissed, defendant convicted of other. Then he had the evading arrest or detention. He was sentenced, probation revoked. And then the possession of marijuana, dismissed, defendant convicted of other. So it doesn't appear that he's learning anything.
Well, Judge, I think all those cases, I think either they were all within an incident or within a time frame, Judge.
Yeah.
But since he's been placed on probation, Judge, which is about 2 years ago, he has not picked up any new number ones, Judge. He's had difficulty balancing probation, as you mentioned. He obviously took on other responsibilities that maybe he shouldn't have, but he hasn't picked up any charges, Judge. He hasn't been out there causing problems to the community, maybe doing damage to himself by not obviously following the conditions that he was required to do. But nevertheless, Judge, he's not out there picking up new charges. As I had also represented him back then, told him, hey, you cannot be doing this. You're too young for this. You had also warned him as well when he first got on probation, Judge. So I know it's been a challenge for him, but he's eager to get this behind him, Judge, and take responsibility. And he is aware that you can punish him, up to the max, which is 2 years, Judge. We hope that that's not the case. But nevertheless, Judge, what he's told you here today, like you mentioned, the phone call, it did occur. And I know it's not reflective of the type of person he is on the MTR that you have in front of you, Judge, but we're hoping that you would consider following the recommendation and allowing him just to try to move forward. Judge.
Did you obtain your GED?
No, ma'am, I'm actually trying to get it right now.
No. You've been on probation with the court for 2 years. Well, minus 3 days. Did you obtain your GED?
No, Your Honor.
Did you obtain a certificate from a trade school?
No, Your Honor.
Did you complete the MRT program?
No, Your Honor.
So basically, you haven't done anything. You didn't really report all the time you were supposed to report. The drug testing levels haven't been the best. It's riddled with failures to submit positive. And then you would have 3 months of negative. Then you come back with dilute, fail to call, fail to submit, dilute. And then you'd have some negatives. Then again, it would be fail to call, fail to submit, fail to call. So this is where we are, and this is what I will do. You have a choice. Here are your choices. I'll send you to the state jail facility for 18 months, or either you can stay on probation and complete this probation, and you're going to be extended for 2 more years. And I will tell you, the only reason why I'm considering extending it for 2 years is because somebody has thought that you're a great catch. You now have a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, and a 3-year-old that somebody decided that you would be the perfect father. So those are your choices. 18 months in the state jail facility, or either you're going to be extended for 2 years on this probation.
Okay.
Extend me, Your Honor.
All right, court is going to deny the motion. Alternate amend conditions. Extend for 2 years. There's going to be the UA hotline.
Your Honor, if I may I have the sweat patch again?
No. Here's the thing. You were looking at going to the state jail facility, potentially for 2 years. We can go off the record. I don't know what's happening with society, what we're in. There used to be a saying that beggars can't be choosers. Now everybody who's begging want to choose. If somebody is standing on the corner and they're trying to get money from you because, I'm out of work or this is happening, and you want to give them $2. Well, that's not enough. If you want to offer somebody food, well, you know what? Thank you so much for the chicken, but I prefer steak and lobster. You were looking at going to the state jail facility because you've done horrible on probation, and now you're trying to tell me what you prefer. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, we can go back on the record. It's going to be the UA hotline until further notice. You need to get employment. So is the mother of these 3 children working?
Yes, she's actually running the business that I have right now.
Running what business?
She's working with my father.
And what does your father do?
He sells tacos.
Sells tacos?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
And
yeah.
who watches the children?
My mother.
People just out here having children and wanting their grandparents, the children's grandparents, to be mothers and fathers. They're not supposed to be doing that. Here's the thing. When you have a child, guess what? You're supposed to be figuring out what daycare is going to be, how much they're going to cost. It shouldn't be built in. Oh, my grandparents will watch the children. That's what y'all are supposed to be doing. Instead, y'all are playing house out here, just having a bunch of children. I can't even imagine taking care of a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old. The 1-year-old is in diapers. The 2-year-old is most likely in diapers. And since you all are not being good parents, the 3-year-old is probably in diapers, and nobody's talking to the children to educate them. They're just running around doing whatever. And then they end up going to preschool maybe, or going to school, and nobody has taught them anything. And they go to school and they want the teachers to be a parent to the children, which they're not supposed to be. Newsflash, teachers are just supposed to be educating your children. They're not supposed to be at the school teaching them values. That's supposed to be your job. And neither you or her other mother are doing any of that. Y'all are just laying around having a bunch of children and passing it on to the grandparents. And you're going to get a job, and it's not going to be selling tacos, because there are only so many tacos that you can sell in San Antonio. Everybody here has a taco stand. And unless you're bringing something unique with your tacos, nobody's going to try to find you or find your parents and say, let me get tacos from this person. You understand?
Oh, she's on a roll. We're down to the uniqueness of tacos. Judge Boyd is not having it.
And are you all living on government housing?
No, we are.
All right, that's a good thing. All right, so there's to be a hotline until further notice. You are either going to get your GED or you're going to get a certificate for some type of trade school. Welding is great. Being a plumber is great. So you can do any of those things. Go look it up. They have it at St. Philip's. They have it everywhere. Find you a lucrative trade, because guess what? If the 1, 2, and 3-year-old decide to go to college, prices when they get ready to go to college is going to be outrageous. You're looking at a mortgage. For that 1-year-old, it's probably going to be $200,000 to send them to college. And all of this thing where you're just going to undergrad, where you're just getting your BA, that is not even enough anymore. Just get.
I get it. She's on a roll, but the chances of this guy staying with this woman and supporting this child through college is exactly zero. That is not. He's never even contemplated that idea. Not once has that crossed his mind.
Getting your master's is not enough anymore. You understand? So GED or trade school. And we're going to restart intensive outpatient treatment with probation. And there's going to be 120 sober support meetings in 120 days. Parenting classes. And once he completes parenting classes, 100 hours of community service will be deemed satisfied. And once he obtains his GED or some sort of trade school certificate, 100 hours will be deemed satisfied. And the court is ordering 200 hours of community service restitution. So once you complete all of those things, then it will be deemed satisfied. And I'm going to want field visits 1 time per month for 4 months. And then thereafter at probation's discretion. And please tell probation to check on the children. Probation, is there anything else?
Already,
Yes. Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful?
No, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
God bless you.
have a seat.
Hell no.
I'm suing the judge. All right. We're on the record. Good morning once again, Mr. Taylor. I'm going to call your case. This is file 181.
This was suggested by Mikhail in the Discord, and I think it's going to irritate y'all.
79 FY and 1810 OT. The whole traffic case is gone. This is just a felony case. The original charges were in the village of White Pigeon in 2018. It's alleged at that time you did possess a controlled substance, psilocybin mushrooms. That is a felony punishable by up to 4 years imprisonment and a fine of up to $25,000.
Unless you sell it as sacrament, then it's totally cool.
You're also charged with delivery or possession of marijuana with intent to deliver, which is a felony punishable by up to 4 years imprisonment. You're also charged with carrying a concealed weapon, a rifle, in your Jeep Compass. That's a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $25,000. Fourth count is possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, which carries a mandatory minimum 2-year prison sentence preceding and consecutive to any other sentence. Your attorney Sarissa Montag is here with me at the court. She just had a conference with you via the breakout room. She met with the current prosecuting attorney, David Marvin. This was originally authorized during the term of John McDonough. Mr. Marvin has agreed to dismiss all of the charges, including the felony firearm mandatory prison case, if you plead guilty to unlawful use of psilocybin mushrooms. That's a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $2,000. All the other charges would be dismissed. They're also
listen to that sweetheart deal. That list of charges, we'll dismiss everything except a misdemeanor, and then we'll just give you a slap on the wrist with that. This is what happens when an insecure prosecutor fires the competent prosecutor in the county and takes things on himself. Just hand out sweetheart deals and don't do a damn thing. Yes, vote for Deborah Davis.
also recommending a sentence of time served. I went through your record. I believe you have 13 days since you got back to Michigan. You had 1 day at the front end, then you absconded, they picked you up. You did 4 days, then you absconded again. So I believe the total amount of credit is 17 days. So the prosecutor's recommendation is that if you plead to that misdemeanor, that'll dismiss everything else. And they recommend that you get 17 days time served. That doesn't include the time you did in Indiana. That's just the St. Joe County time.
I like that.
Do you understand the plea offer?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Montag, you confirm it?
I do, Your Honor. I will also state for the record that I did speak with Mr. Taylor, and I did tell him that Your Honor would be going along with that plea offer. So, and I also kind of explained it to him more as like a sentence agreement, but he believes he's entering into this plea believing that he's going to get time served, credit for time served, and he'll be eligible to be released today.
And I did represent that. You understand?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Other than this plea agreement, did anybody promise you anything to get you to plead to this?
No, sir.
Or threaten you?
No, sir.
Do you understand that by pleading to this charge, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or jury? There will be no trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you had a trial, you'd have a right to have any of the witnesses for or against you subpoenaed to come to court so they could be questioned under oath. You would have the right to take the witness stand and testify on your own behalf, but you don't have to because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. And you have the right to be presumed innocent if and unless the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You've been through several attorneys. First was Attorney Reed, then Attorney Truckee, and now you've retained Attorney Montag.
No, I went through the pleadings. It's bad. It's bad. It's a prosecutor. She announced that she was going to run, and it's somebody just doing it for political reasons. Clear as a bell. I'd be shocked if he maintains his license after this is over.
So that was your right to hire a lawyer. All right, this is way back in January of 2018, a little more than 6 years ago, just short of 6.5 years ago. Were you in White Pigeon, and had you used or possessed some psilocybin mushrooms?
Yes, sir.
Where did you get them?
I got them in Indiana at the bar.
And I hadn't seen you for a long time. As I indicated, you got arrested on January 17th. That's 2 days. You bonded on January 19th. And then you didn't show up for court. So issued a bench warrant. And then you got picked up. The bond, that back in the day, the bonding company used to go get you. Well, the bonding company went and got you on May 12th, and they brought you back to Michigan. on May 14th.
Yes, it's a horrible tragedy. I don't have anything specific to say. Deborah Davis messaged me directly. I knew about it right away. I've seen her on. It's obviously a terrible thing, but it's difficult for me to say because I don't have any personal connection or anything like that. Obviously, you know, it's a very sad thing, and I know it affected her tremendously.
And you bonded on May 17th. That's 5 days. We actually got 7 days credit. And then you promptly absconded again on a $25,000 cash or surety bond. And I don't know why they posted your bond after you didn't appear the first time, but we forfeited that bond, $25,000 from quick bail bonds, and we forfeited it on September 7th of 2023. And they have a year to redeem it. I was hopeful that they would look for you, but they didn't. Anyway, they're going to get their $25,000 back because you got picked up within a year of when we forfeited that bond. But I had reopened this warrant a couple of times. I done an internet search to see where you were. I asked them to redo the warrant. We did the bond forfeiture. I thought the bonding company would go get you rather than forfeit $25,000, but apparently they didn't. So where have you been for the last 6 years?
I was in Indiana.
You lived in Peru. Were you there the whole time?
Yeah, I was right where they picked me up the first time, sir.
Your Honor, can I say one more thing about the plea agreement?
Yes.
There's also an agreement, and Mr. Taylor, I didn't tell you this part, but I don't think it's a problem. Let me know if it is, that he would forfeit the weapon that was taken back in 2018.
Yes.
Yeah, that's no problem. Just, of course.
Now you got picked up in Indiana this year, 2024. Are those charges done?
No, I bonded on those charges. I have to go back to court 26th of July.
All right.
He posted that on, Your Honor, so that he could be brought here to deal with this case.
What county is that?
That's Bolton County, sir.
All right, Mr. Taylor, you got 2 days the first time, 5 days the second time, and 13 days this time. So by my calculation, that's 20 days jail. 20 days jail credit, 20 days. I have to assign the minimum fine of $125 for 2 additional days. That's a $50 state minimum fee and a $75 crime victims' rights fee. Somebody bring you $125, you get out today. Otherwise, you got to do 2 more days because I'm not chasing you for any money anymore.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to apologize to the court.
Well, you were a hard charger, as my old probation officer, Bob Sabatini, used to say. And you were running faster than your feet would go. And sometimes that leads to falling down. The good news is that you're done here. This case is resolved. There's no felony firearm. You can go back to Indiana and deal with your charges there. So good luck, Mr. Taylor. I probably won't see you again. That's probably okay with you.
Thank you.
All right, good luck.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, that resolves that, and it finishes our morning. I've got to deal with a mental health case.
Thank you very
Reduced to
much.
a misdemeanor. All right, he can go back and live happily ever after.
I will go let Judge Patterson know that you did it and you're done.
He would have had a harder time calculating that time, sir. All right,
Thanks,
thanks.
Judge. See you soon.
Okay.
Austin, if you would address bond, please.
All right, I got one more knucklehead for you. I haven't seen this, but I saw a little bit. So it looked promising.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. There does
If it sucks, blame Alyssa. If it's good, you can thank me.
appear to be, I think, some genuine confusion on Mr. Thomas's part as it relates to the court date. It doesn't seem like that this is something that he would just deliberately miss, especially considering that he's currently on circuit court probation. And my understanding is that he is otherwise doing well and in compliance with that. He's not currently working, but he does have prospects to start working again shortly. He has an upcoming interview, as he stated, Your Honor. And as also, as Mr. Thomas stated, he did self-surrender. He's turned himself in. I think that shows the initiative that he has to address this. Once he was informed about this outstanding warrant from his probation officer, he attempted self-surrender yesterday, but missed a cutoff, and he's back here again today. So that shows me that he is someone who wants to address this, and he's going to take this seriously and appear in court when he's directed to do so. So I would ask the court to please factor that into its decision regarding bond, and I would ask the court to strongly consider releasing Mr. Thomas on his own recognizance. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, Mr. Thomas, the reason you were sent away is because you did miss the cutoff on that. You had to turn yourself in. You've done that. So you've done what you need to do. But listen to me, sir. But the problem here is that it's been over a year since we've seen you on this. And where is the disconnect? Let me finish, sir. According to Mr. Austin's statement, that it doesn't seem like it would be something that someone would just not come to court. You are on probation, and this warrant has probably been in custody for quite some time, and I don't understand again why, if you're on probation, that they wouldn't be aware of that. So at this point, I can only do what the judge has ordered me to do, and she has ordered you to be remanded for that hearing. However, let me just advise you, it's set for July 2nd. She cannot hold you for in excess of 14 days. So we're going to advise the judge that you're here today, and that if they move that up, then they can hold you up to 14 days. If they don't, then they would have to release you. That's up to the judge. We will advise her today, again, that you are currently in custody in Lansing lockup. Do you understand that?
No, not really. So June, that's next month, ain't it?
July,
June,
yes, and that's why I'm telling you. That's why I'm telling you. They
I gotta
can't
go to,
hold you.
so I'm going
They
to jail
can't. Yes, we're going to give Judge Simmons the information today.
So I gotta go to jail.
Yes, sir. Mr. Austin, did you have anything else?
No, magistrate.
Okay, you're all set, sir. All right, and that concludes arraignments. Thank you very much, Mr. Austin, Mr. Kuiper, and Mr. Knowles, and to the officers. Thank you.
One more question, please. I can answer your questions.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, you're welcome. Thanks, guys.
And magistrate, one more thing, if I may. Miss,
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. I didn't know that it went that direction. I wasn't ready, but he gets his Chili Award. Oh, where are we here? Well, there we go. That's what we had. It was like the United Nations of knuckleheads. Everybody got in on it. From all over the world. From all over the country. Any way you slice it, knuckleheads. All right. Thank y'all for coming out. I appreciate it. Thank you, Alicia. I see you there. That was good. I actually did like that clip. All right. I will see you all soon.